Hello and welcome to SAP Sapiens channel. If you haven't already, check out my previous video about how to get access to an S4HANA system. I will leave the link below in the comments. In this video, I will explain how to get an on-premise installation done in Google Cloud Platform. I will also leave below the link to the post where you will find the details step by step. If you remember from the previous video, we need three things to get an on-premise installation of S4HANA. The first thing we need is the S4HANA license. Once we have the license, we will need a cloud server where to do the installation. In this video, I will show you how to do it in Google Cloud Platform. And finally, we need the Cloud Appliance Library service to do the automatic installation in the cloud server of the S4HANA product. Let's start now creating an account in Google Cloud Platform. When you visit the website, it is easy to get confused when you see free account. You may think, I can use the free account for S4HANA. But no, I have bad news. No. To not bore you with the details, I will tell you that if you check the virtual machines that you can use with the free account and you check the minimum requirements for an S4HANA installation and you compare both, that would be like trying to fit an elephant inside this car. But that you cannot use the free account doesn't mean that you cannot use the free credit. Let's see the details. Let's start visiting the Google Cloud Platform website. And the first thing we will need to do is to create an account. And then we will need to enter here our Gmail account. If you have an email account, then use that one. If you don't have any Gmail account, then you will have to create a new one. Then you will need to put your password. And you will need to enter your country and accept the terms and conditions. Here you will need to create the details for the billing card also. And that will be the billing account that we will need later. Once you are in, go to API and Services, Dashboard, and press Enable APIs and Services. And then we enter, and we have to enable it. Make sure that you assign a billing account, otherwise that will not work. So, the billing. So we will assign the one that we have already created by default. We created the account. Now, because you have the option of disable, you can see that everything is enabled. Now we need to go to the following step, that is creating a service account. We will choose IMM and admin, and we will choose service accounts. Let's create a service account. You have to give a name. Let's call it S4HANA on-premise trial, and then we press create. The following thing we will need to do is to assign the roles to our service account. So the roles you have to assign are Compute Instance Admin V1, then Compute Security Admin, this one, and Compute Network Admin, this one, and continue. Then you are done. We have here our service account. We need to create a key that it will be used later in the Cloud Appliance Library. We download it as a JSON file and keep it in a safe place because you will have to find it later. Sorry, when you are not a native speaker, sometimes you make mistakes. In this section, every time I say quotes, I meant quotas. Then we need to update the quotes because the requirements of an S4HANA installation are much bigger than the ones that comes by default, especially in the free account. For that, we go to IAM and then to the quotes. First, with a free account, you are not able to modify quotes, so the first thing you will need to do is to upgrade your account, and then you will not be a free user anymore. So you have to press here, activate. You have to upgrade the account. And now you are allowed to modify the quotes. If you try and you are not able to modify quotes, could be because it takes a while since you request it and the account is updated. So just wait some minutes and try again. So we go to quotas. We will need to update this for our server, the location of our servers. I'm gonna do all the configuration for the Europe West 4. So I filter here, Europe West 4. And you go to edit quotes and you have 24, you have to put 44. And you need to put a description here for Google. I put this S4HANA on-premise deployment. You will need to put your email address and your phone, and then you will submit the request, and that will send a request to Google, and you will receive 3 emails. The first email will be a confirmation that they have received your request. The second one will be a confirmation that they have approved the request, and then the third one will be a survey. For me, that was in 1 minute. I mean, since I requested until I got the authorization, it was 1 minute. So now, if we go back and check, we will see that our quote has been accepted. So we checked, and yes, now we have 44. Now we will need to update other quotes. To be honest, I'm not so sure that the CPU is needed because when I was doing the installation, I had a fail with CPU N2. So for sure you need CPU N2, but I'm not sure about CPU. But you can upgrade it. That is not gonna be, I mean, Google is not gonna charge you for having the quotes increase. Google is gonna charge you for what you use. So if S4HANA doesn't use it, you will not be charged for that. So let's activate now CPU N2. Let's filter by the region of my server. Europe West 4. And the same, I'm gonna request 45. In this case, I have even less, 8. So let's request 45. Same, you put a description and you will have to enter email address, phone, and submit the request. And you will receive the 3 emails. Again, my inbox was plenty of Google emails. Now we need to wait a little bit, and so now we need to check that the quote has been updated. So let's put the region you chose, in my case Europe West 4. And now we have 44. And there is another extra quote that we will need to update. The problem is that you will not find documentation of SAP about these things. I discovered this because I was getting errors and then I was finding which one is the quote. So I know which ones are the important quotes now because I managed to do it. So now you need the persistent disk SSD in your API, sorry. Europe West 4. And in this case I was receiving an error of, I think it was 913, but I don't care. I'm gonna put 950 and I will be in the safe side. Description, and we are gonna receive again 3 more emails of Google. You will have to put the phone, the address, submit the request. Okay, so now let's wait and confirm that we have the quote updated. Now you have everything you need configured in Google Cloud Platform to be able to do the installation of S/4HANA on-premise using the Cloud Appliance Library. Easy, right? Before we move to the Cloud Appliance Library to see how to make the installation, I will tell you how to check how much you have consumed in the Google Cloud Platform, because you will need to check to make sure that you will not have extra charges. These figures are updated with delay, so you will need to check the following day to have all the consumed that you made the previous day included. And if you terminate an instance, I would recommend you to check the consume for at least 2 or 3 days and make sure that nothing is being increased. Otherwise, you will need to find out what is activated and is making the consume. So to do this, you can go to billing. And here is the dashboard. And if you go to reports, you will be able to see the balance consumed. So in my case is 1.33 pounds. So I will enter tomorrow and I will check that the amount is the same on the following day, and if not, I will try to find out what is happening. And if you go here to budget and alerts, you can set an alert. So let's move now to the Cloud Appliance Library. To use the service of the Cloud Appliance Library, the first thing you will need to do is to create an account. So you press register and you will enter your data. And after registering, you will receive an email and you will need to activate your account from the email you received, otherwise you will not be able to log in. So you go to your email address and you press the button. Click. Activated. We need to accept the terms and conditions for the Cloud Appliance Library. And we are in the Cloud Appliance Library. So the first thing we are going to do is create an account. We are going to connect our Google Cloud Platform with the Cloud Appliance Library. So we create an account, we give a name, we choose the provider, Google Cloud Platform, and then we import the JSON file that we downloaded when we created the service account in Google Cloud Platform. So you upload the file and then you have the private key. And step 2. Continue. Let's go to create. So let's create now the instance. So we are interested in the fully activated appliance. This is the one that have data and configuration already prepared. So because I want to just test. Here we are accepting the terms and conditions of the 30-day trial license for the S/4HANA. So now we need to connect from in what provider we are going to install it. In our case, we only have one account, that is the Google Cloud Platform. So we are going to choose that one. And we are going to put a name for our instance. S/4HANA trial. Remember that my region, the region in what I configure all the Google Cloud Platform was Europe West 4, so I choose that region. And this password is super important because it will be the one you will need to access the remote desktop. You have to press the button Advanced Mode to be able to choose the static IP. So every time you suspend the server and you activate it again, you will have the same IP, and in case you configure that in your SAP logon, you will not need to configure again and again. So I recommend you to activate that. So here you can see the costs. Remember that these costs are the cost of the cloud provider. So in this case, Google Cloud Platform. And you can see them in the SAP website because they did an interface and they connected both systems. And then you are seeing here a simulation, but SAP is not the one charging you for this. If I disappear again, you will see the button Create. So you press it. And SAP is warning you here that the virtual machine that they are recommended of the SAP Cloud Platform has not been certified officially for them, so they have not tested properly. But anyway, for me it was working. So, and now they tell you here that you will have to wait 90 minutes until that is configured, but the reality is that for me it's only 30 or 40 minutes, so you will not have to wait that long. So now we are installing the instance. So now this is active. Let's see what is inside. If you go there, you can see some information about your instance, what you have installed, the IPs. The 4 virtual machines are active right now. If you press the button Connect, you will see here all the connection options you have. You can see that you can access the BO. I made this installation with BO, don't have to. If you didn't install your BO, you will not see this option. Then you have the access to the NetWeaver, and this is the access to the S4HANA system using SAP GIP. And this is the remote desktop where everything is configured and it will be easier to access S4HANA. So let's see how each of these connections work. This is the connection to the BO. You have all the users and passwords in the documentation of SAP. Okay, so this is what you see when you log into the BO system, business objects. Let's see the NetWeaver, what we see in the NetWeaver. User, password. Okay, here you have to change the password. So welcome 1 can be changed to welcome 2. And then I will remember for sure. We log in and this is the NetWeaver. You have the Adobe services. So let's see how to log into the S4HANA. That is what I wanted. So if you press this button, that will download this file. And if you go to the folder, double click, you have to enter the user and password, and you will have a direct access to the client 100 of your instance. And you have permissions to do everything you want. So I was checking that I have access to the customizing. So you can also, if you have the SAP logon in your computer, you can also configure the connection. So you will need to put the application server, the instance number, and the system ID. You can see that in the Cloud Appliance Library. Here, the system ID, the instance number, and if you go here to the details, you can see okay, everything is on. You can see the IPs here. This is the IP you have to put in the SAP logon to be able to access. So let me demonstrate that it works. I'm not creating a movie. Cristina. You have 3 clients, by the way, but 100 is the one that has all the configuration and data. So if I log in, teaching again, I am inside the S4HANA. Let's test now the remote desktop. If we go back, here. If you click there, the connect option, then that will download also the file, and if you double click, here you will have to put the master password that you created when you were creating the Cal instance. So let's log in. A virtual desktop, as you probably know, is like a remote desktop. I don't know where that is located, but the thing is, now I am logged in 2 computers. One that is who knows where, and the one mine. So I have 2 screens. When I open that screen, I am in another computer, and this is the virtual desktop. So this window will pop up, and here you will find information about the users, passwords, and other stuff. I recommend you to check it. If you don't have the remote desktop, that information is in the get started use of SAP. So here you connect to the S4HANA system via SAP key, SAP logon. So let's put the user and password, and let's test the connection to Fiori. That is not in favorites, so let me look for the transaction /n, because the transaction, you know, every transaction starting with a slash, it will fail if you put that directly in. So you have to put always a /n if the transaction starts by slash. And you log in again. It's a little bit slow, I cut the video, but here you see that you have assigned, you can see all the Fiori apps that are assigned to this user. So let's log out. Log out. And it is super important that you remember to suspend the instance, otherwise that will continue counting the hours in the server for the cloud provider. So I'm going to teach you how to suspend it. You press the button suspend, and the same. This is a quite slow process, so I'm going to cut bits, suspended. And if you don't want to have any cost, because I'm not going to use this in the whole week and I don't want to be paying an extra fee for the whole week, and to be honest, I have not created a lot of things, so I don't care if I lose the information. Anyway, I have configuration and data already, so I don't care. Then I will choose terminate. And the same. I will cut bits because this is super slow. Terminated. To get access to an on-premise installation of SAP S4HANA, we used a 30-day free license of the S4HANA, a 30-day free trial of the Cloud Appliance Library, and the free credit of Google Cloud Platform. But what happens after the credit has been consumed? What happens after those 30 days of free trial of the Cloud Appliance Library? Is there any way to extend that trial? In my next video, I'm planning to share some tricks that I discovered and tips about how to manage the cost. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to know the answers. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to smash a like if you would like to watch more videos like this. See you in the next video.